Good morning, my friends. Welcome to fall. I am so excited. This is actually me excited. This is the first day of October, and this is week 39 on our 1,000 pound challenge for 2023, where we are diverting 1,000 pounds of all sorts of garden waste and kitchen waste, office waste, all of those different things, and we're putting it back into our garden. And I'm just going to move this away because I really want to go over with you just some of the things that we are going to be diverting. And on the wet side, we have fruit peels, and we have coffee grounds and all sorts of things along that way. If you have any kind of food that you're going to dispose of, even if you think, oh, I can't, I wouldn't put that down the garbage disposal. Well, actually, some people do. I've seen family members who would take a banana peel and put it down the garbage disposal, and I thought, oh my goodness, you're really working that poor sucker. But anyway, I feed these to my worms, although I do take those little tags off because the worms won't eat them. But and when I do my banana peels, even if I'm doing it for the worms, I usually freeze things first. It kind of cuts down on any bugs that might be in there. And I have I have just an old top pie tin, and I go ahead and just stack things for a week in there in the open freezer. Keeps it contained, and I can just add it to the worm bins, or I can go ahead and dehydrate it and make a powder out of it, or dehydrate it and then just put it in the worm bin, or my compost, whichever you have. I use a lot of coffee. This is coffee and tea grounds. Some people call them grinds. And we sprinkle that either on the worms, or you could put it in your compost. Have anything dry, stale. Kids got tired of eating Cheerios for a month, whatever your reasoning is. Crackers go stale, and people decide to throw them away. Bread heels are always notorious in the trash can. And if you have worms, the worms just love it. If you're going to put it out for compost, that's great. Just on this side, this isn't counted, but if you have rice and you make rice and you rinse it first, that water has NPK. So think about it. You're taking your you go to the grocery store, you go to the big box store, and you buy fertilizer that has NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. And you say, oh, gee, I fertilize my plants with it. Well, look what you're doing. You're rinsing your rice in the water, and then you're throwing the water down the drain. So if you take that water and put it in your watering can, you're just automatically, and what a nice slow way of doing it, to do it all the time. The same with things like your canned vegetables that come in a water that has maybe a little bit of salt in it. I usually buy the kind that doesn't have extra salt in it. And I will take that, especially the corn. Corn has, cornstarch, sugar in it. Same with a little bit of nutrients from the peas, beans, whatever you're going to, green beans, whatever you're going to have. And add that into your rainwater, add it into your watering can, and it will benefit it could be your house plants, it could be your outside plants, it could be your garden. And then here on the dry side, add some. You can see I'm getting ready for fall. I'm putting things out very slowly, but my cardboard that I go ahead and shred through my paper shredder, and I have it was from Amazon, and I think it's a 12 ply, 12 sheet shredder, and that works really well in light cardboard. I can't use it in heavy cardboard, but in light cardboard it's great. And I mix the two together because the worms like it better that way. They cheer when they see it. And outside, whenever I'm doing my compost, it doesn't get as clumpy and I can still add it in. And here we have some paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls. We're doing wine corks are biodegradable because remember, it comes from a cork tree. So obviously that would go back into the earth. And popsicle sticks, any of that kind of stuff that you're going to use in your daily life, you can then add back into the soil. This is some of the dehydrated fruit peels. You can see the banana fibers are still in there. They don't break up. That's basically the stem is where that comes from. And here's something that I was guilty of is that we have moringa powder every morning. And whenever I was taking the leaves off, I was taking the stems and throwing them away. And I thought, well, we're eating the leaves because that's where the highest nutrient density is. But those stems would also be something that you could feed your animals if you wish. You could feed your plants. And instead of taking the stems and just putting them in my composter or putting them out for the worms and having them take forever to break it down, I just chopped them up really fine. And I put that through the NutriBullet. And look at that powder. I mean, that would really, I could use that. You could use it for yourself. It wouldn't be as high nutrient equivalent as say the leaves. And it's like fresh leaves are higher in nutrition than dry leaves, but you're probably going to have more concentration if you powder it because it breaks it down, takes all the water out. And then also, so I'm going to give that to the worms and just as part of their worm chow. And then, of course, eggshells. And, I'm 73 and I think of all the years that I was throwing all of this away. And I don't feel ashamed, but I feel sad. And I feel sad because I didn't know this whenever I was a kid. And my parents didn't know it. They probably did a lot of saving because they were not rich people. I won't say we were poor, but they grew up during the Depression. And so, boy, that left that lasting impression on them. They were frugal. And but eggshells, you think of all the eggshells that we have just thrown away over the years and how much we could have been adding over the last 50 years to all of this stuff. I have a friend who I bought my original can of worms from, and she said, at that time, that was back in 2009, and they had only been doing it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And I'm guessing by now she knows the better way of doing it. And that was it. She took her eggshells and she just took them with her hand and crumbled it. And then she just put that on top of her worms. Now, I'm not the big brain here. We have other people in our little group of our little worm community who are. But the physics of worms being able to let the bacteria eat this, or that they would use small pieces of it in their grit, in their crop, why not grind it up for them into as fine a powder as you can and allow them the ease of taking that in and using it. And so that's probably all I'm going to say on this end, but hang on. just a minute. Hello again, my friends. I'm back. This is week 39. I can't believe that we're 13 weeks left in the year. And I had something happen on last Saturday night, not yesterday, but the week before. And I have been so excited to tell you guys. I mean, I just like, I had a hard time last week not saying something to you because I hadn't had a chance to weigh it, and I was thrilled. But let me just tell you the story first. I've been getting grass clippings from our neighbor Brian, who lives up the street, 5, 6 doors up and across the street. And he lives on a corner unit. And I knew the original people who bought the house. As a matter of fact, back then we were a new development, and people would move in. They would have the landscaper's package was included in your new house, and that was a big oak tree. It was a palm tree. It was a crepe myrtle tree, and then there was just little shrubs around it. Any of you who have bought a new house and it was in a development and it came as a package price, you know that certain things are included. So as we all moved in, we had people who were going, I don't want that big ugly crepe myrtle tree in my front yard. I don't like those. And they would, because it was just planted, it comes out of the ground just as easy, and they would drag them out and leave it by the curb for a big bulk garbage pickup to come and take these. My goodness, if you go to the grocery, if you go to the big box stores and you see what you pay for these, oak trees were just being tossed. If you've ever bought into a development, you know that maybe you're the first one on the block, and then you get to watch all the other houses being built around it. And that was exactly what happened. We were the first ones. There's 9 houses on this side of the street, and there's 9 houses on the opposite side of the street, and one that face the outside, so there's 11 on that side and there's 9, 10 on this side. And so I didn't have a job, and I was and I had a dog, so I was going out for a walk with her, and I got to know each house as it was being built, because they would just build like one at a time, or maybe have one going almost up and another one starting. Sorry, this is so long. Anyway, so we got to know the people at the end of the street. Still know them, great people. And I looked at their landscaping, and I thought, boy, they had this big house, and the whole side of it was just a couple few shrubs, and that was it. And towards the front of the house, this whole area, it's a big section because they have a corner lot. And I thought, boy, 2 crepe myrtle would really center that. And then they have a big window, and I was thinking, well, we could do this kind of planting. I'm a busybody, I'm always thinking, we could add some flowers here, we could add this and that. And then I had a neighbor who, across the street, young couple, and when they moved in, they had a crepe myrtle in the front and one was planted in the back. She decided she didn't want either of them. They were in probably by the 10-gallon, it was pretty decent sized root ball. So I had a little red flyer wagon that my brother-in-law had given me for decoration, but I mean, it was a decent, a typical red wagon probably would hold 150 pounds. And so I asked her, you're going to throw them away? She says, oh yeah, geez, help me get them out of the ground and they're yours. So I took them up and talked to Russ and Joanne, and dug holes for them and planted those. and they were only 6 feet tall at the time. And then somebody else across the street, they were throwing away their oak tree. So I said, oh, could I have that too? So I planted that as you come around the corner on their swale. And so they had 3 nice plants that probably would have been $100 something a piece, and then for planting. And but that's what friends do. You know, that's my bottom line. So anyway, here we are, 15 years later, and our friend Brian, he still has. They've lived there for about 4 years. He still has those crepe myrtle trees, and he doesn't really cut them back. He cuts up underneath occasionally, but he doesn't cut them back. And he puts out bags and bags and bags of garden trash. Well, he came up with the bright idea that he was going to buy a chipper shredder, you know, one that does leaves and then does smaller branches. And he bought it at Harbor Freight. That's I guess a United States company. I don't know how many states are in, but they have them here. And Rick heard him, you know, we could hear him up there on Saturday, 9 days ago. And he had the engine going, you know, he was running. And so Rick walked up and he said, what are you up to? And he said, oh, I'm just going to cut back a few of things here and there. And I'm just going to do a little bit of this. It's an electric. It ran all day. He was running it at 8 in the morning. He probably took some breaks to let it cool down and also to be cutting. When he pulled into our driveway at about 6 o'clock, he looked like somebody had run over him. You know, he just looked terrible. And when he popped up the back of his trunk, he had black trash bags that were the heavy duty type of black trash bag. And he had 3 of those. And I thought, at 6 o'clock, there is no way I'm going to be putting this in trays to weigh it. It's, you know, it's 8-10 pounds a piece. I have no idea what he has in there. But he had all of this oak leaves, oak branches, crepe myrtle leaves, crepe myrtle branches in this wonderful looking mulch. Some of it was a little choppy. It could have probably gone through there again. But this is my big excitement, and this is me excited. It really is. He had 136 pounds, 5.8 ounces. Is that incredible? So I am just like over the moon that he didn't cut his grass also. That would have put me in the ground. I have this whole 2023, 52 weeks, I have been trying to think of how, you know, 20 pounds a week, oh, I can do this. Oh, wow, you know, we've gotten up to like 50 some pounds a week. I want to say, I don't remember what our big total was, but we've had some 50s. And I think one time we have a 70 or close to it. But anyway, I thought, gee, you know, I said to Rick, I wonder what I'd have to, looking around my house and I'm going, I wonder what I'd have to chip and shred to get 100 pounds. And Rick said, you know, don't look at me. And so anyway, I'm excited, sorry. And so we got 152 pounds, 14.8 ounces for the week. I feel like I was sitting on my duff with us only getting 16 pounds. But I have to tell you, that weighing that stuff out, you know, 8-9 pounds at a time in my trays, and Rick took it to the backyard. If you look at the backyard tour, you get a little glimpse of it. I kind of wanted to show you guys what this looks like. I'm so impressed with wood chipping, but I don't want to go somewhere like the municipality because I know most people who have any kind of bug problems, they throw it in the trash. I don't want to introduce that to my yard by bringing in those kind of wood chips. So anyway, all right, I've told you the whole, my whole long story, sorry. But it came out to, for the week, was 152 pounds, 12.1 ounces. And our drum roll, please, for after 39 weeks is 1,509 pounds, 14.8 ounces. Are we doing doggone good or what? So that did knock out a few of our folks. Gardening with Bar Chuckin said 1489. Mrs. White Davy was at 1300. Clive's Conundrum, Jason and Colleen were at 1404, and Jill over at Be Free Be Frugal said 1432. But we still have Joe, and we still have Sandra, and we still have Gary at GBL, and we still have Joanne's Garden. Let's see, Nana's Worms and Garden is Joe's Place, are those folks. So anybody who's still hanging on, thank you so much. So anyway, I made it way too long. Sorry. If you hung on to this time, God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you back next week. Remember, that's going to be week 40. So we are really cooking right here to the end. Who knows what we could get. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon. And remember, garden what you've got. Bye-bye.